Fuck it.
Easy. He said the S word.
We have to like tilt your camera and we have like Katie in this one.
She's the important one.
Put
Amazing.
that like the edge maybe, and then like have more of an angle.
I don't know.
There you are, there, Katie. Look, give it a wave. It's a bit slow, so you'll be waving around in about 2 minutes.
Oh, I hate that. I'm very aware of my posture now.
Oh, yeah.
So
All right.
guys, it's great to be here in the
So, we're going to start this off. First of all, Katie, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I'd say we start or we do this in some kind of weird way. So, this is a first experience, a unique experience, where myself, for people who are going to be listening to this, myself, Almo, Katie are sitting around a table with a few amazing people who came to our live podcast this Monday.
Emphasis on few.
Emphasis on few. But hey, listen, who can compete with the European Championships?
Fair.
The European Championships and a few other things. But really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Also, Jordan, you came like at the last minute, so a huge thank you to you. I love having music at these things every week. I get that it's going to be a little bit different because there's not going to be like a big crowd for you to play to today, but we have amazing photographers who are going to get some incredible shots of you playing some tunes later. So if anything, that's going to be it's going to be good in that way. Katie, you're from New Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah, I'm from New Jersey.
Said earlier, living in a 3,000 people person town, like fairly small place. When people think of New Jersey, I don't think they think of that.
No one thinks of like a farming community with more like tractors and people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you have any relation to Tony Soprano or?
I don't think I can actually legally tell you that. No, none that I know of yet. But who knows?
So normally, when I was last in the States, everyone they never said they were American. They said I'm 1/4 Portuguese, 1/15 Irish. What are you?
I don't know, and I'm scared to answer that question because I've lived here long enough that if I say I'm actually 15% Irish, I know I'll get the shit taken out of me.
Did you get sunburned today?
No.
You're not Irish. Must be a Greek or something in there. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, I got sunburned today. It's embarrassing. I went for I'd say I like to say it was about a 40-minute run. It was more realistically about 25 minutes. Ironically, on a beach, and it's just, when you come home and you're sunburned, and sometimes I'm like, it's really frustrating. Like, is my body that weak that I go out in the sun for a little bit and it starts to like, no, you can't handle this.
You're not allowed.
Get back inside.
Back inside, yeah. You started performing stand-up comedy.
Yes, I did. I started going to therapy and got too happy to write poetry, so I needed a new creative outlet.
Too happy to write poetry. That's amazing. Honest to God, so the first time you did stand-up was in Dublin?
Yeah, I did it through my college. We had like a stand-up comedy society and they were doing classes, and one of my friends hit me up. She was like, Katie, you're the only person I know with no shame enough to do this with me. I can't do this alone. Will you take this class with me? And I was like, sure, why not? Because I was a theater kid in high school.
Yeah.
And I just did it, and I ended up really loving it because it was just an excuse to be yourself on stage and try and be funny. And I thought it was fun to like get to go up in front of people and tell jokes and make people laugh.
How do you go about like writing a joke? I mean, we spoke to, like, for example, I spoke to Pedro last week. He's a comedian. I don't know if you know him. Portuguese dude, and he explained to me his whole process of writing a joke, which was totally different. You know, he's a Portuguese speaker, and basically he was breaking down the grammatical rules on how you like make a joke.
That's cool.
Which is, I was like, whoa, I didn't think this was part of it at all. Obviously, he's not a native English speaker. How do you go about writing a joke or something like that?
I think I just kind of think of things that would be funny to me in everyday life, or things that seem a little bit absurd, and see if I can't dramatize them in some way to be funny to a larger audience.
Okay. I kind of feel like, no offense, I'm a little bit older than you, but I feel like
Just a little bit more. The side eye.
hey. I'm gonna make a derogatory comment about your generation, and that not that I feel like it's a bad thing, but it's the language that your generation uses very dramatic. Like everything is like over the top in terms of its brilliance or its shitness. I don't know. I can't think of an example, and I'm really sorry. But like we spoke about TikTok before we started, and sometimes if you see like people the way they talk on TikTok, young people, man, I've just turned into such an
Young people.
Oh my
Young
God.
people.
Young people.
Just forget it. Change the topic.
Everything's like scandalous.
Yeah. Everything is literally so crazy.
Yeah. Now, what do you talk about with your friends?
Just absolute shit. We're so mean.
That's what you want. That means you're good friends. That's it.
Why did you push yourself outside of your comfort zone to come to Ireland to study? Like, why was that?
It became in between a choice of the university that my parents went to in like my home state, Jersey. It was like the State University Rutgers, a tiny 2,000 person liberal arts Catholic college in Vermont, like right near the border of Canada, or Trinity.
Okay.
Okay.
And so Rutgers is a really great school, but my
I
parents
think
went
I've
there.
heard of Rutgers before.
Rutgers University.
Yeah. I think I heard. Sorry. I
No,
think I
no,
heard
go.
about that from The Sopranos. No, honestly, I think it's what one of the guys was gonna go.
Saying I'm from Delaware.
No, it's good. It makes me understand you. Oh, sorry. Go on. So you came to Trinity in the end.
Yeah, I chose Trinity because it was the same price as my in-state university with a scholarship. So it was
Wow.
like the university my parents went to, spend my whole life in a 3,000 person town in Jersey, or get to travel. Not a lot of my family has been like properly outside the United States before I came here. So I've gotten the opportunity to like have the gift of the world, which is cheesy, but cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's amazing. Can I ask, do you have like what size is your family? Do you have siblings or?
Yeah, I have 3 siblings and 2. I have an older sister, a younger sibling, and then a little sibling. So I
Okay.
have 2 little siblings.
Okay. So you're in the middle, kind of. You're in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top three.
Yeah. I should just say, like, Katie's probably like the most brave person we've had on the podcast, because you're reading my lips right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So Katie's deaf. So like everybody's like, whoa, you're in total shock. Yeah.
I have some bit of hearing left, but anytime there's like more than a singular sound, I'm just reading lips. It's not bad though.
Yeah, but like I'm trying to understand your character, right?
Yeah.
You're this type of person who's chosen to study in a foreign country, and then for me, like I don't understand how people do stand-up comedy, and like the bravery that you have to do that, and then come and do something like this. Where does that come from, or why are you like, or how are you pushing yourself out of your comfort zone so much?
My mom always told me the worst thing anyone can tell you is no. If you ask for something or if you try something, like the worst situation you do is you fail, right? Like if you're going to do stand-up comedy, the worst thing you can do is bomb and no one laughs, but what effect does that have on your immediate life? Do you know what I mean? It has whatever effect you let it have. So if you try something new and you're just not good at it, the worst thing that can happen from trying something is just realizing you're not good at it and you don't like it. But the best scenario is like realizing you really like something and like developing a new passion for something.
How do you gauge the crowd when you maybe write new material or you're in front of a new crowd? Because I don't know how hard it is for you to hurt if you can hear them laugh or not at your jokes. You know?
I can hear people laughing, and a lot of my jokes are just about generally being queer, which does not go over well in a lot of audiences, especially.
Really?
A lot of stand-up comedy audiences around Dublin are just like older couples on vacation.
Oh yeah. Real the pro queer grant gang.
Yeah. So I'm standing there like, my pronouns are she, her, or she, they, but you can call me he if you want, and no one laughs.
Yeah. I think that's a generational thing as well. I don't think it's because they disagree with it or anything. I just think that there's like, well, you know, they're just not used to it. I think. I could be wrong. Obviously some people will probably be against it or whatever, but I think for the most part, probably in the States, you're just more advanced in that context than we are here.
Honestly, Dublin is more progressive than like where I'm from in the States at the very
really?
least. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Dublin, like, I don't know, I feel like there's an attitude overall, like in Ireland in general, of like, yeah, you do you, kind of.
Yeah, that is true. Definitely.
Yeah.
Here, a lot of people just don't care. Like, just do your thing, chicken wing, and that's it. Like.
do your thing, chicken wing. It is. I guess there's like, yeah. I think it's changing. I don't know, like Jordan, what you may think, or Stephen. You were saying you're from Cork. Like, obviously different. Everybody has a different experience in whatever part of the country you grow up in. But it's definitely very different to what it used to be. 100%. Like in the last 10-15 years, there's been a dramatic change. So maybe I'm still saying things are like more conservative when actually they're not so much anymore. I still think there are some aspects that are conservative.
Of your generation.
Of my generation, yeah. The guys that get sunburnt and sore knees. Yeah.
I got the sore knees as well, so I'm getting there. It's okay.
You said you went to therapy. Could you just give me the name of that person?
Actually, right here on Capel Street.
Doing this podcast with this guy is going to make me go to fucking therapy at some point. That or some gene therapy or whatever. Yeah, so you've enjoyed your time here so far.
Yeah, I really love it. There's always something to do, but it's not overwhelmingly big, you know? Like, you can always run into someone, like on my 17-minute walk from my house in the Liberties here, I ran into like 3 people I knew on the street.
Yeah. It can be a good thing and a bad thing.
No, like I was just saying, like even now we have friends in common and we didn't even know. Like I work with a girl that she climbs with, so yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he knows my mom for sure.
Cork is really small.
Cork is very small.
Super small.
What part of Cork are you from, Stephen?
It's more the airport. It's like he got murdered close. It's like next to those fields next to the airport.
Okay.
That's the whole of Cork.
Oh, that's amazing. I don't know if that's because it's like a quick exit for you, or it just happened to be where they built the airport, or...
I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. But yeah, like, how long you came to Dublin? You told me that it's your first year studying Trinity.
It's my 3rd year in Trinity. It is my first year in my new course at Trinity.
Ah, okay. So does that mean you've been here for 3 years then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've done 1 year of COVID.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into that. I can only imagine. What surprised you about Dublin?
What surprised me about Dublin? Okay, we've already talked about it, but how small it is. Like,
It's so much better with an American accent, isn't it?
Like, I'll meet people for the first time from like completely foreign countries, and they'll know, like, I had a friend who went to an international school in Dubai, and they knew someone who was studying here, and like just somehow through like friends of friends connections, like the world just seems so much smaller.
Yeah. It is a small city. It is a very small city. But quite like, well, what is it? 1.5, maybe 1.3, maybe million people. But in the city centre, Like if we compare that to Madrid or whatever, Madrid is like 4 or 5 million or something like that. Obviously London is like 11 million, so it is in terms of big European capitals, it's tiny. But I think in the city centre it can feel quite busy.
Yeah.
It's always lively.
It's lively. There you go. Some people call it crowded. Some people call it lively.
Some people call it romantic, and we still don't know why.
Yeah. Is it a romantic city for you? Is it a romantic city?
It's definitely a romantic city, not particularly.
It's rated one of the most romantics in the world.
I don't think anyone walks like through Temple Bar and like,
Oh
the
my God.
romance.
Not on me.
Like
Doesn't happen.
two birds.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah. It's crazy. The 7th most romantic city, and it's the 7th
Is
most
it?
romantic city in the world, according to some journalist somewhere, probably who's never been here. It's not a romantic city. Someone described it to me in a really nice way the other day, and I never looked at it like this before. But it'd be interesting to see what you guys think. You go to Madrid, you go to Paris, you go to Rome, it's perfect. Everything is relatively like perfect. It's beautiful. Whereas you have the polarity in Dublin right in front of your face. You have things which are amazing right next to stuff which might be difficult to see. Whether it's, so much homelessness, whether it's people starting to fight with each other, whatever it might be. It's chaotic, it's weird. It's like I feel Dublin has grown without, I feel like we've this has actually just come to my head, but maybe since we got independence, it's like we've grown up without our parents, and we don't really know exactly what we're doing. We've just been absolute madness. Obviously, just I'm exaggerating, like your generation, but I think there's that chaos to Dublin. But maybe you coming from, I've never been to New Jersey. I've been to New York, been to Boston, never been to New Jersey. I don't know if you experienced that level of chaos where you come from, or.
I'm not really. I'm very rural kind of. You know what you're getting. It's very boring. There are no street lamps. My first job was in a farmer's market. Pretty
Sounds
much
quite
that.
nice.
But I get what you mean about Dublin, because it feels kind of real. It's not an idealized version of a city. You can see people living there. You can see individuals having lives there. So it's not just this Paris, the grand idea of a thing, but just an actual city where you can exist.
Yeah.
Practical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. What do you see as the main difference between Cork and Dublin? Someone went off on us at a podcast. I can't remember what podcast I said. I made the remark that
One of the guests said that Dublin is a bigger Cork.
Dublin is a bigger Cork.
I was just going to say that as well. I was going to say it's a bigger version of Cork, because in Cork, when I go down the street, I'm guaranteed to meet someone every 10 metres or so. But in Dublin, you got
Every
more
25 metres.
it's a little longer, but you can kind of go away to these different places, and you can kind of be your own person and don't feel like there's someone watching you all the time, which is kind of the crack in Cork, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because we got abuse online.
A person from Cork said that Dublin is a bigger Cork. We got so much abuse. Someone went off in the comments saying,
It's
they bullied us. They bullied us online. And Mark's generation doesn't know how to deal with that.
Yeah, like I said, therapy. It's a fantastic thing. It is. It's funny, the different cities, I think, around Dublin. Or Irish people are very. I don't know if you've noticed this, but Irish people are very, when we're away from Ireland, we're very proud to be Irish, but as soon as you come back, even within Dublin, it's you separate the north from the south, or if you're not from Dublin, you're separated by outside of Dublin, or Cork, Dublin, Galway. We're extremely, don't know what the word is, but maybe territorial is not the word, but divisive, exactly. Thank you, Jordan. And that sometimes for me is really annoying, because like sometimes you feel like, can we not just be all from like the one place, or why do we always have to be why do you always have to be an other? And that has kind of frustrated me in the past. And I think I don't know if you guys noticed this growing up here. This is more for the Irish people here, but with clubs, when you were growing up, if you ever played sport, there was, where I grew up anyway, there was the Gaelic football club, and then there was the rugby club, and then there was the tennis club, and then all of these are different sports, and you couldn't really be mixed into too many of them. It was like you're one of them, and like you join that club, and this is a representation of you, and there's a bar in that club, and you go and you have a drink in that bar. And I grew up and I played a bit of Gaelic football, but my friends mostly played rugby as well, but they played rugby for the club and I didn't. And I remember going for a drink with them. I always felt like an outsider when I walked into that club, and they'd kind of look at you weird. And this is just, I don't think that type of thing exists where you come from.
I think it might, because think of it, you have the American football kids, and they're the American version of the rugby kids, or the rugby kids are the Irish version of the American football kids. And it's like she said, I was a theatre kid. We had theatre in our schools, we had the rugby, we had the Gaelic, but I think the same divisions exist amongst humans in every country. We want to divide ourselves by hobby, job, sport, occupation, and we do those things so that we have some sort of identity, because without identity you start to go insane, you start to wonder who you are, what your purpose is here. And an easy way to do that, instead of finding your path in life, is finding just something to do that a bunch of other people do that you enjoy. And that's the first way people start to divide. Obviously the jocks go on to work in probably the same jobs and companies and maintain the same friendships groups, but that start of societal division, it starts in the jocks and the theatre kids and the rugby kids and the nerds and the losers and the people who don't quite have a table, which I think was where I was. But I think that division is not exclusive to us. It's everywhere. It's probably worse in America. I'm not going to make that judgment, but it seems to be worse. Like I feel like judging off how school was for me here, I don't think I would have had a good time in an American high school.
That you could be right there.
Yeah. What do you think?
Like your place was fairly small. And the amount of people, was there a bigger divide, or were you all more?
I actually ended up I got a scholarship to a school the next state over, so I went to school in Delaware in a 200 person total across all 4 years Catholic girls' school. And that was interesting because a lot of them had kind of been raised there, but I know what you mean, of there was definitely very clear divisions of there were the girls who had grown up there, going there all their lives, or the girls whose parents made $1 million donations to the school every year. And then there were people who were just kind of we're not in any country club.
Yeah, country clubs.
An actual thing I discovered, they do, I didn't know this until I started going to this school in high school, they do cotillions. Actual, debutante coming out parties.
No
idea.
Presenting girls to society, being yeah.
16.
It's an actual thing that they still do.
Yeah, it's kind
Wow.
Okay.
It's kind of sexy, at least for me.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
You're gonna have to explain this to me.
To the society, I mean, you are selling yourself. I don't know. It's kind of that in Argentina happened the same. It's when the girl have 15 years.
Like the quinceañeras and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's awful. I avoid that when I have 15 because it was I don't want that. Give me the money and I'm going to buy the thing that I wanted. That's it. Or make a trip wherever. But it's really, I don't know.
So it's kind of like a Sweet 16, but in a more perverted way.
Yeah. It's I am available.
The people on the market.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Sounds so weird.
Yeah.
It is weird. I've never
A wedding without it's like a wedding. There are huge parties in which you say, come.
Wow, that's
real,
so fucked up.
It's a huge event.
But So can I ask, like, what? Just break this down for me. So like a girl, like, gets dressed up or whatever, and is like a catwalk. I imagine this is what I imagine.
Yeah, like, so they'll have like a little blurb about them of like all of their volunteer experience they do, and they get escorted by a guy who's like a respectable member of the community.
They get scored.
Like you get escorted, like
Escorted.
yeah, you get like
Escorted.
not
scored.
wrong use of the word.
No, I meant like 7 out of 10. I was like, oh, come on. Sorry, excuse me.
But yeah, they get like. I'm trying to find a word use here that I like. But essentially, they get like escorted out by a guy who's like generally their age, in the same country club, things like this. So in my class we had 40 girls in my graduating class. I think 15 of them were members of the country club and did like the whole cotillion debutante thingy.
Wow.
I never heard it called cotillion. Like,
Yeah, what does cotillion mean?
I think it's just another word for it. I think debutante would be like South, and cotillion would be like, we're not in the South, guys. This isn't a debutante ball.
What happens after? Like, do they like? Is it like some guy comes up and goes like, tell me?
I don't think it's like a bartering for your hand in marriage type thing. I think it's more of like a social scene now of like,
now it's all good.
yeah, like proving like you're rich enough that you can afford to spend this much money and pay the country club to have your daughter presented in this way, and all of your friends are there, and like da 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 da. I actually never went to one.
Okay, yeah, good for you. Yeah, why would you? Yeah. Wow, that's brilliant.
No, not the word you want to use.
No, but it's like,
Yeah,
it's fascinating. Like,
That's a real conservation of wealth. If you think about it, it's like my kid's not going to marry someone that's not in the country club.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
parents will be rich. Like, they're making sure my daughter's not bringing home a loser. That's
yeah.
fucking. I thought that was only in Bridgerton. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Whoa, I'm learning things today. That's
Every day's a school day. Yeah.
So, if New Jersey is depicted by The Sopranos, is there a TV series that I can relate Delaware to? Is there a TV? Was it Gossip Girls or something in Delaware? No.
Gossip Girl was in New York.
Oh, okay.
But like, we can say Gossip Girl, sure.
Yeah, that kind of style. That's a pretty crazy experience to grow up in. It sounds like a pretty conservative high school then.
Yeah. It was interesting, especially because I was only, like, in my time, I was the only out queer kid for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an interesting vibe.
What age did you come out?
I came out when I think I was 14, and then to my parents at, like, 15, 16.
Was that a difficult experience for you?
Kind of, and no. I only came out because my school kind of made me. I was essentially told by my school that if I didn't come out to my parents, they were going to tell them for me. Because,
gosh.
yeah.
Where's the lawsuit?
That's why she's here studying law.
Get him back.
It's been a long plan.
Yeah.
I've been plotting my revenge.
The long game.
But no, I was founding the GSA because we were Gay Straight Alliance. Because we're a Catholic school, we didn't have one, and we had like, it's a whole weird thing in the States, like if you're a Catholic school, you're a Catholic school, you are owned by the Catholic Church, meaning the bishop of whatever diocese you're in kind of like controls everything you do.
Yeah, it's not too dissimilar to how it was here, yeah.
Yeah, so I was in negotiations with the Bishop of Wilmington, and it was a whole thing. And so eventually the dean of students at my school sat me down and was like, listen, if your parents don't know, you need to tell them by this date or we are telling them for you. And it was never like a...
I'm sorry, but that's
That's bad.
terrible.
That's bizarre. Like,
Yeah.
that's...
It's your
to take
choice.
that step to say, we're going to take this massive choice for you in your life, that's like...
Yeah. Do you look back at it and like, in a weird way, are you grateful for it, or?
I'm really grateful for my school because I know that if I hadn't gone to that like really bougie school, I wouldn't have a lot of the opportunities that I have now. I think networking is 90% of success in life, and I'm really fortunate to get to like have grown up in like an environment that did really help with that.
Hook us up.
Yeah.
If you need me to walk in a dress in front of rich people, I'll do it. I'll do it.
You're a little old.
Yeah.
he be your escort?
100%.
I'm not that well respected.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Jesus, it's madness. But yeah, so that experience for you then, after you had come out as a 15-year-old, it's quite young, very young. I know some people, like everybody's different. I hear stories of people coming out at different ages, etc. But I guess at that age, I anyway was an extremely, I wouldn't have admitted it at the time, but an extremely fragile person. I think most people are when they're 14 or 15. You've been obviously confronting these difficult, maybe social situations from a young age. Do you think doing something like that has enabled you to have that kind of stronger social presence and to do things like comedy and to come to Dublin and to do a podcast, you know, when you're reading my lips and like that is like, you're a very brave person. Like at no point did you say, you only told me just beforehand, which it to me says like, I'm doing this whether, you know, no matter what, and it's not going to stop me, and that's amazing. So I well done to you. Yeah.
Thanks. I feel like I'm getting way too much credit for that.
No, but it's very cool. But yeah, that's cool. Anyway, you came out as a 15-year-old, and here you are in Dublin, experiencing the queer comedian dream.
A queer comedian dream. There are so many fun queer comedians in Dublin.
Oh, really?
It's an interesting like subsect of the like comedy scene, because I had I don't do comedy that much compared to a lot of people in Dublin.
Yeah.
But I had someone come up to me like a few nights ago and just be like, "Oh, I follow you on Instagram." I was like, "Yeah," because this was like one of the bigger names in the Dublin scene. And she was like, yeah, I try and take all the little queer comics under my wing. Have a little collection of us.
Nice.
Just like very cute. It's definitely like a wholesome community going on.
Yeah. And how, for people who might be listening to this, how do they become a part of that queer if you like, because to be a comedian, not everybody has that in them, but like going to comedy scenes in Dublin is a great way to meet people.
It is, yeah.
So where are those nights taking place? And
Chennai is a great one. I really love the vibes of Chennai. I think it's one of the more inclusive clubs in Dublin, and I think it's just very like, I've never seen a like bad joke there not bomb. You know, like any misogynistic or kind of just like iffy jokes there will instantly bomb, and that's kind of like the community of it I really enjoy. And I love I think the Stitches Comedy Club that does some nights in Workman is very, like, it's a good vibe. Because a lot of comedy can be kind of touristy, especially like Halfpenny, I think is a great club. I love them. I flyer for them.
yeah.
But it is very much like British and American tourists.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to meet people from like Ireland, then like Chennai would be a good place to go. Stitches, like on Cassidy's, yeah.
What percentage of like, I imagine you've met a lot of people through college and Trinity, but from doing comedy, how many people or what kind of percentage of the people that you know are through that community?
Or like through the comedy community?
Yeah.
Well, I started comedy less than a full year ago.
Wow.
There you go.
So I would say I know like, I probably have met like 100, 200 people in that time. Like, you just meet so many people, especially if you're doing gigs. Everyone's so friendly. Like, I recently did a student gig for a comedy competition in Workman's the other night, and I walk in the room and I knew, I think like 7 out of 10 of the performers on that evening just from like doing gigs around the thing, and it was just really nice.
That's cool.
Brilliant. Really cool. I have to go to more of these gigs. I don't know if you guys are big into going to comedy shows, but it sounds like such a nice way to meet people, and I will always be a little bit intimidated by comedy shows, because you could be front, you know the stereotypical front line, and you just get picked on and abused.
Someone's
for it.
doing only crowd work for the night.
Yeah.
And you're in the front there.
Yeah. And I'd say I'd be victim number 1 there, but or at least I am in my head. but you know, they can be intimidating places to go as well.
Yeah, you can also just lie.
Yeah.
I bring a lot of friends to comedy shows because I was terrified of getting into the scene. I'm much younger than a lot of the people I know who'd be doing comedy. I only know a few other like students my age who'd be like doing a gig a week and things like that. So it's kind of like an intimidating place. So I'd always bring friends, and they hate it because they don't like being called on.
Yeah.
So they would just lie. I have friends who would be like making up a wild story just to give the comedians who are doing crowd work for them a better jokes to go off of.
Okay. Yeah, that can happen too.
Makes it interesting for you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make up a whole new persona based on what the comic is getting out of you.
Here's a question for you and for people who are sitting here. Sometimes we ask people where your favourite spot in Dublin is, and that could be a park bench, it could be a cafe, it could be a bar, it could be any place. It could be a street, it could be a shop. Is there anywhere that springs to mind for you, your favourite spot in Dublin?
Do you know the coffee shop Beanhive?
Love Beanhive. Their breakfast.
They're
Damn.
muffins!
I just wish it was bigger because there's never space to sit down.
I know, but it's right near college, so we'd go like twice a week, and we started knowing the guy who runs the place. And once I left for the summer, I came back, and he went and he looked at me and he was like, "Where did you go? We missed you."
Ah, that's nice.
Beanhive is wholesome and everything is nice.
Where exactly is Beanhive?
It's on Dawson.
Dawson Street.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that place is always packed. I've never been in because of that reason, which is obviously means it's really good. Okay,
The
cool.
old barista that they have is a guy from Canaries.
Oh, no way.
He was recently at Zip It, so yeah,
There you
small
go.
place. I saw him like 2 weeks ago.
No way.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, but Beanhive, top notch.
Beanhive.
There you
Anybody here? Favourite spots in Dublin?
Not really in Dublin though. In Maynooth, yes. By the castle, there's a small cafe, Papa Cafe.
What's it called?
Papa Cafe, like Pupa Cafe, Papa Cafe. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
In Maynooth.
Yeah.
Ah, amazing.
Small little place.
Yeah.
Right next to Ye Burgers at the corner of the street. Yeah.
Maynooth is a nice spot, actually. Yeah, I have a friend who lives in Maynooth. It's a good little spot.
It's
Yeah.
like its own vibe to it. And yeah, I love it. there.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Any other shouts? Favourite spots in Dublin?
International bar. They have comedy, they have music, open mics. It's that thing of like people from all different countries coming and meeting in Dublin. It's I think if you wanna, because you listed the places you can meet Irish people. If you want to come and you want to find people that aren't from Ireland and you're also not from there, but you want to also meet Irish people and just mix it all up, go to the International. It's in the name. Everyone's there. If you do comedy, if you do music, something's going to be there one night of the week for you, and you're going to make friends. I think it's impossible not to make friends in that place.
Ah, there you go. Couldn't hear a better advertisement than that. Very cool. Katie, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thanks for adapting for us. We know we're going to do some comedy and everything like that, but we'll get you back another time to do that. Would be great.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys for being a part of this as well. A little bit of a different one, but really, really nice vibe to it. So thanks for being a part, and thanks for being real supportive as well. I like that atmosphere too. And yeah, that's it. For anybody who's listening, thanks. There you go. That's it. Thanks a lot. Yeah, that's it, guys. Well done. Good job. Thank you. I'm just going to stop this, and then Jordan, are you what?
Oh God! So the guitarist is not able to make it, but we could do a little jamming type of thing for one or two songs. I improvise a lot of music, so it would be interesting to try it out. If you
Will I leave the mics on? Let's leave the mics on. Let's do this. I don't know what's going to happen, so.
That's hard.
Do you want to sit there?
Yeah. I'm not going to grab anything, so here's as good as anywhere.
Okay, cool. Can you just change the camera onto him then? That would be amazing.
You don't have to be on camera if you don't want to.
It's
Up to you. You choose.
Oh no, I want church food.
Don't worry, we got this one over here.
played yourself.
Say it. I'd say it probably did record, yeah.
Column 4K.
Get this one to you. I don't want to tell.
Yeah, I have it said.
Thank you. I'm sure it did. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes didn't, but I'm sure it did.
That was really interesting.
Yeah, it's brilliant, Katie. Well done. Brilliant.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we got it.
I was going back and you said you were kind of lip reading.
Yeah,
Insane.
it's amazing.
No, it's why I'm like constantly just like swiveling to see whoever's talking. I know it looks a bit like I'm watching a ping pong match at all times. I'm sorry.
It's incredible.
It's funny, man. Like, look me in the eye and talk to me. I'm like, no, man.
I'm gonna put a mic over there for you there, so we can catch you anyway, Jordan.
Oh no, here's yours. I don't mind.
What?
Yeah.
It would actually be great if you could swap seats because the mic can only
shit.
do that. Alright.
Alright. So, to start this off, when I make music, I generally improvise. Now, normally I have someone here with a guitar, either electric or acoustic, and they just play something and then I sing and we come up with a song and whatever I'm feeling on the night we do. Now, the guitarist did not make it tonight, so we're going to need some banging, screaming and grunting or something we can come up with. So, what we're going to try to do, or what we're going to try to do here is jam out. We are going to try get a beat going like we're in prison. We could, the people in prison make do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a beat, and then I'm gonna come up with a song, and we'll see what happens. So yeah. Does anybody want to come up with a beat? Anybody want to start banging something, or shall I?
Get the instruments out.
I was looking forward to this. Yeah, no, keep it up.
That's good. Here we go.
Pain has got a purpose if you let it be. Won't you give your darkest days just some time, then you'll see. Pain has got a purpose, can't you let it be? Pain has got a purpose, give your darkest days some time and then you'll see. Everything you're meant to be, you'll see. Can't you cast your mind back to your memories? Can't you please remember me when I say you'll be all you want to be? Your days can get right in between. Don't let frown come on your face, cause when the smile leaves, then comes all the rain. Don't let smile leave from your face, cause when the frown comes, then comes all the rain. Don't let smile leave from your face, cause when the frown comes, then comes all the rain. I was feeling down today, so I had to smoke a drink. I almost cried today, but instead I got up on my feet. Don't let your darkest days paint your picture for your mind. Your soul needs some time to get through the storm and it shines. Don't make up your mind on what you're gonna be. What you've seen and what you know is what you've only seen. There's a whole world outside of what you think. There's a whole world that you got to dream. There's a whole lot that you gotta believe. There's a whole lot that you know you can be. I said, don't make up your mind too quick. Don't take the smile right off your face, cause when the frown comes, then comes right the rain. The storm will pass, it shines today. So don't you let your darkest days make up your mind on what you're meant to be.
Yeah.
Oh, Nelly.
Did you just make that up?
Yeah.
Oh my god, man.
What's going on?
That worked out better than I thought it would. First time I've gone without an instrument, and thank you so much.
That was
I
amazing.
knew that was
Do we have time for one more?
Yeah, of course. I didn't like the fucking banging on the pint glass.
Yeah, that was lovely. That was lovely.
I'm joking.
Okay. Woo!
makeshift.
Get the lights flashing.
How about you give us ideas for instruments?
Yeah. For this one, can we get a little clap going?
Yeah.
Stop. For this one, I'd like to speak. I'd like to say some things that I'd like you to see. For this one, I'd like to not sing, just say some words that I'd like you to believe. I'd like you to believe that you're anything. Anything you'd want to be. I'd like you to believe that you can do anything that you want to achieve. I'd like you to think for a second. Think of all the pain you've been through. Don't let it break you down. Don't forget it. Remember the things you've been through. They make you stronger than what you were when they came. You were weak, you were broken. Look at today. It's beautiful. You made it through the rain, the storm, the pain. I could try to make this more eloquent than it is, but my only message to you is this. The darkness will pass, the light will come. Nothing sustains forever. Everything is temporary within life, life itself. Death consumes all. So when you think of the life you'd like to live, remember that is what it will end in. Death. No matter how good or how bad it was. So let it be what you wanted it to be, not what someone else thought. So, I won't like to preach to people who I do not know more than. I have the same struggles as yourself. I struggle with self-doubt and boredom. I live in the same hell as yourself, and I feel down often, consumed by depression, anxiety, and doubt of what is to come. So I tell you, we're in this boat together, but that's the main point. Without each other, this boat shall sink, and we will not reach our port. So our survival relies only upon each other. There is no music in this, simply a man asking you to love each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I don't know how you do this, man.
That's all I do for gigs. I've never done a gig that isn't improvised. I love it. It's because, say, like, obviously I write songs, but they're also improvised in the studio. But I think that music in itself is, you know, if you just talk about whatever you're feeling that day, even if you're writing music, if you're not performing and you go home and you're trying to make a song, the best thing you can do is just literally just be in now and talk about today. And I think that improvising, even with comedy, music, or even the podcast, just sitting down and talking, casuality makes everything better.
Yeah, but it's not easy to do that. And you can see by your eyes that, like, you're kind of not like.
I'm not here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not here.
Mentally,
Yeah.
there's some you have to go somewhere else if you want to bring something here.
Yeah.
There's a place full of beautiful ideas and things,
a mind full of beautiful ideas and things, and it's using us to bring these ideas and things here. There's also a very dark place filled with dark ideas and dark wants that brings its ideas here through people, and both those minds are in constant war. So remember, your ideas are not your own, you are simply a conduit for ideas and to serve the good source.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Do you, can I ask, are you, this is going to sound like a weird question, but are you, would you consider yourself a medium for these ideas, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have no talent, I have no ability. I am open, I'm a vessel. I have a ability to conduct and channel, and I think that's all any artist has, an ability to conduct and channel something beyond themselves. I think anybody that lies in any form of greatness is conducting that thing beyond themselves, and that thing is within us all, but it is also bigger and more impressive than any individual human.
Have you ever had an experience where you go to perform and nothing comes?
Never. Because that thing doesn't fail. I could fail, but I don't rely on me. Anybody that relies on them will fail. I don't rely on me. That's why I don't need confidence, because I'm not the thing that's doing this. I have no capability whatsoever. And I don't think anyone does. I think that all people are conductors, like you said. All people are mediums, antennas for ideas, literally.
Have you always felt this way, or is this something that you started
It's
feeling?
something I've always leaned towards, but as I've grown into adulthood, I become more sure of the preconceived ideas I had. Life reaffirms my beliefs rather than trashing them, which makes me believe that my beliefs might be correct, or at least in some way close to objective truth. I think we have to operate in objective truth to manifest correctly. Because if you're operating in what you think life is, or what you think reality is, even if it's nicer than what reality is, it's not true. Whereas when you operate in objective truth, you will be able to do things other people can't do. And I think that that's one of them objective truths, is that we don't have talent, we are simply conductors, mediums for art. All types of art, comedy, painting, music, even if you create cars, any type of advancement to this human society you got that from somewhere else, and I guarantee you don't know where the idea came from. It just came to you, and you can't tell me where it came from.
Man, there's some good stuff. It's some heavy stuff. I feel like we need to do a proper podcast.
I would love to. I asked him earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
How does your brain work? Does it like work in images or kind of words? Like,
Music, sounds, everything's a sound to me. I think everything holds the aspect of music. Like, life is but a song, and that sounds very romantic or stereotypical, but if you think about it, a song is just getting one thing, and life is, you could say life is a painting, you could say life is a song, but what life is this constantly complicating, unfolding thing, and you're always adding a new dash, a new colour, a new sound, a new kick, a new beat. So making a song, making a painting is very like life. There's all these components coming together, and in this case the people are the sounds or the paint. So I think that life, and I just view everything as kind of the same as constructing a song. Like when I construct my life, it's kind of like, okay, I need success, but what builds that success? That's like, say, the guitar and the drum and the kicks. So that the guitar might be hard work, the kicks might be self-belief, the snare might be connections or networking, but the formula for anything is very much, we are in the creation process, and everything can be related back to that basic form of making a song, making a painting. Even if you're not good at it, we all know what it's like to create, and if you approach life creatively, you realize that the creative and the natural go one on one. Creative and natural are synchronized, they are the same thing. When we go from the creative to the structured, or we go from the natural to the, you could say, the unnatural or the categorized, or the minute we start to apply our own
logic to
the minute we apply a motive and we say this is what it needs to be, that's when it gets corrupted. Like, part of the reason Dublin is so great is it has that aspect of a melting pot, of a painting, of a song to it. Whereas when people come in and they try to structure the reality of Earth, and they try to say these people are allowed to do this, these people have to do this, these people aren't worthy, these people are worthy, that's like saying red's better than yellow or black's better than white, if you want to put it literally. So that's not true, and I think that that's where so to take that question you originally asked and put it where I'm trying to say my point is, I look at music, or I look at life like music, but I feel like a lot of people look at it, or are trying to look at it, as far more structured than it is. And yeah, I get we're trying to alleviate the chaos of our reality, and some people think that the way they're going to do that is by controlling this world and the people in it. But the truth is, you can't control this world and the people in it, and in any attempt to do so will result in the detriment of the race, and that's what's happening right now. There is an attempt to control human activity and what we're doing and human thought, and we're realizing, or at least people outside of our general populace are realizing more than ever, that human thought is dangerous and needs to be controlled. And should they gain that control of our thought, we will not have this creativity, this great melting pot, this mixing song anymore. We will lose that from society, and that's something everyone here enjoys. That's why we're here, this melting pot. That melting pot will disappear in the next 20 years should the elites and the people at the top have what they want, which is categorization, division, and a set thought on who is good, who is bad, who is right, who is wrong. And all of these things, I guess, remember, you're a part of a painting, you're a part of a song. Whoever is listening, stop hating the other colours in the painting. Stop hating the guitar. The drums hate the guitar hates the drums. The blacks hate the whites, the gays hate the straights hate the gays. Stop hating each other. You're all part of the same painting, you're part of the same song, and the components hate each other, and that's why it's not working. That's why we're not mixing the way we used to. That's why society has this sickness in it, because we don't view it as a song, because we don't view it as this thing that should mix. We're always talking about how we shouldn't mix, how we should divide, how the colour shouldn't go across the lines. And I think what we need to remember is the world is grey. The colour does go across the lines, and you don't get to decide who's worthy. So to anybody out there, you are nothing but a kick or a drum or a snare or a lick of paint. You're not the whole painting, and remember it. So stop telling other people they're not worthy to be in the painting, or they're not a valuable attribution to that painting. That's how I view life. A painting that fucking hates itself, that hates the red hates the white, the blue hates the yellow. So just fucking love each other more. Just come on, it doesn't make sense. We're here in this together to make something, we don't quite know what, but something ultimately incredible at the end of this together. And should we continue to divide and hate and say that red's better than blue and green's better than this and guitar's better than drums, we will never have our song. We will never have our painting. Whatever that is, whatever the ideal earth is, we will never have it. We will never reach the completion of creation should we continue to divide. So understand that red can't hate blue, blue can't hate green, the kicks can't hate the drum. Just get that concept. If a creation hated itself from within, it would never be, and that's what we are, a creation that hates itself from within. And we need to meld and melt rather than ripping apart. So I'm sorry for rambling on, but
Jordan for president.
thank you.
Yeah, man. Well
Thank
said.
you for listening to my shit. I'm sorry.
Brilliant.
That's
Well
really
said.
interesting.
Really interesting.
That reminds me of a book that I was reading. Like, I think it's a kind of story. It's a Dutch writer that he speaks about why we think that the society is a shit when it's quite the opposite. I mean, our nature is to love. Our nature is to help each other, and he proved that with. He proved that in different ways, little small things, and it's really nice. It's like, people is kind. At the end of the day, I believe that there is more nice people in the world than bad.
Yeah,
Of course,
I hope so.
the kind people and the good people don't make the same noise
Yeah.
that the bad people. That's a problem.
I said this in a podcast I did a while ago, but I said that the devil shouts and God whispers, and that includes your minds. I guarantee you your negative thoughts are far louder than your affirmative, positive thoughts. The good thoughts are hard to catch and keep. You could think once in a while, "No, I'm the shit, I'm good, I'm cool." And that thought is so hard to keep and maintain, but it's so easy to believe you're nothing. It's so easy to believe you're going to fail. It's so loud when it tells you you're nothing. It's so loud when it says you'll fail. And that's what you need to remember. You need to remember your mind. When I say we're a conduit, I mean it. Your thoughts, your ideas are not your own. There is two things vying for your attention, positive and negative. And negative will always be louder. So you must gain the skill of being able to drown out the devil's screams and listen to the angel's whispers. And if you can't do that, you won't be happy, because life has this ability to put the bad in our face. Like, say you go out in Dublin, you see someone get attacked. I've been attacked twice in Dublin. You see the bad force. That's how it happens. And the good is this little thing that if you don't appreciate it, you could miss it. The good's always placed in and around the bad, and if we don't look at it and appreciate it and try magnify it,
Yeah.
He's very graceful about it, wasn't he?
But yeah, if you don't try listen to the whispers and instead you decide to listen to the negative screaming in your head, you're going to reside in the negativity, and the screaming's not going to get quieter. That's what I can't stress to everybody else. The screaming will not die down. It lies on you to gain the ability to look past it. It's like, imagine you're in a war zone and you have a record player, and that's your only record player, and you're in a bombed out building, and you have to sit there and appreciate this one beautiful thing you have in the war zone. You sit there and you try drown out the bombs and the screaming just to listen to this one record. And that's what listening to positivity is like. It's like shutting out all the war and the bombs and the fire and the banging and the badness, and you choose to focus on this one thing, even if it's not sensible, even if it doesn't quite seem like it's gonna turn out good. Always choose to focus on the good whispering rather than the incessant and enveloping screaming, because we're seeing that in this world. We're seeing the darkness envelope in the west, in the east, everywhere, and the only way we can make this paradigm turn out the way it's meant to is to focus on those whisperings, those good whisperings. What I'm saying right now is a good whispering. I'm sure whoever listens to this, there is one person that's had a shit day and everything went wrong in their day except for hearing some positive words. Now you could choose to say those positive words aren't valid because my day didn't align, or you could say that my day is good because at least one good thing happened, someone said something positive. So remember that, one, you must listen to the whispers, and two, you must act to be the whisper in someone else's life. They're probably consumed and screaming. They probably haven't had a whisper in quite some time, so try to be the angel whispering in people's life past their screaming, because we're all dealing with it, all of us.
Amen. Amen. Thanks a million, Jordan. That was amazing. Yeah. Well, I'm feeling positive. Yeah. Feeling good. Yeah, I'll stop that, and I'm gonna get a drink and then have a chat.
There we go.
And then, yeah. So, thanks, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody want anything? You all okay?
I'll go up and get one as well.
Yeah.